Let me ask you a few questions first. So, what do you think? JavaScript is single-threaded, multi-threaded, or what kind of language it is?
JavaScript is that single thread.
Is it asynchronous or synchronous?
So it's a synchronous.
Okay. So, what do you understand with synchronous?
Synchronous means when we compile and code or we use to that synchronous operation, so it will block that client, and once it will complete that execution, then we have to work on that.
Okay. All right. So, let me give you one code snippet. Just analyze it and answer me. Okay. Mm, I'm putting in the chat. Give me a second. Mm. Remove. So after console log fourth line, press enter and write a set timeout callback function. And in the you can give five like 300 millisecond. And here console log like your name. Console log your name. Okay. After line number 7, again enter and then write console log and give any number inside that console log. Okay. So you said it is synchronous. So how the execution will be? In the output, what you will get? First, what you will get? Second, what you will get? Third.
So if I will take this one also now, so first this will call,
Mm.
then 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 this will call, then after 3 seconds my name will call.
But it is synchronous. It should be going from top to down one by one.
Yes.
Don't you? Don't you agree
Yes.
with me? Like as you already mentioned, it is synchronous, the JavaScript.
Yes.
So it should like print welcome first, then your name, then one, two, three.
Yes, think one of it.
Or is there any other output if you want to change your answer?
So asynchronous.
So JavaScript is synchronous.
Yes.
Okay.
Little.
All right. Just remove everything, and I'm giving one you problem statement. Can you quote this for me? Oh, this is the array. So let me simplify it for you. So there is one array which is this input, and I want output as a flattened one. So there is one edit I would say. After 7, there will be no 8. Only 7 will be there. So like you are getting an array. The output you will get the flattened one. The
Yes,
input
sir.
you see, it is 3 is a array, then 4, 5, 6, they are again inside multiple arrays likewise. So can you flatten that for me?
So whatever this array is there, I have to remove those array, right?
Yes,
These
yes.
things that
You just
code.
need to give a flat structure in the output result. It is the same result you get.
Yes.
Okay, let me give you a hint. You need to do some recursion here. This is not very simple liner, one liner question. You need to put your some logic in the form of recursion so that you can do it organically. So that whatever the array inside an array until infinity, if someone gives, still it will work. The line number 11, if you are writing splice, that way it will going to do only once, but still there's some issues. So that approach is not right. You need to change your approach. If if you are not able to do it, you can ask me. I will go ahead for another question.
Yes, yes, you can go on.
Yeah. Okay. So let me give you one more chance. So there is one array I'm giving. You just need to sort this out in decreasing order, and yeah, in decreasing order. So the highest number will be first, then the lowest after, then lowest, then lowest. Like, okay, let me could you please explain me what you have done, because we are running out of time.
Yes, yes. So here not decreasing whatever I am taking. So I am starting with one I, then I start with one. Then I'm checking that whatever length is there. No. So after that length, I'm taking here. Then one more for loop I am executing. So G. So this G I start with that zero whatever here coming no. So that indexing. Then it's executing. Then I'm taking that if that array is that whatever that I value is there one. So after that in that. means in that variable I store that data, and and matching means if that the same is there or not. It's there, then it will come, or then that array value will show in that in I it will. But I have to decrease here because here descending order, no. So first 20 will come, then 10 will come, then 3, then 1 will come, right?
But it is returning the same array which you are giving.
So that one.
Okay, no worries. We need to cover other topics also. Uh, can you open this link? And before that, let me ask you a few Angular questions. So, give me one strong reason why we use Angular for any application. Like,
Yes,
there
so
are many other libraries that we can use. Why still we use Angular as primary framework for our UI?
yes, so this is the option, whatever technology they are using depend on that project. But I can tell in that Angular, man, it is a framework, so they are using and many thing. It's a single page application. Single page application means we implemented only DOM whenever that page will come. So
Mhm.
based on that is be a single page application. We just redirect to that means redirect to that user, and that model will come, and that page will come.
Okay. Have you used routing in your any of your project?
Yes, routing I use, so that lazy loading routing also.
Okay. Have you like done some communication between different components?
Yes, I use.
How we
So
can do that?
yes, so there are few ways there, so we can communicate between parent to child component. So one thing is the at the rate input and at the rate output is there. So when we are passing data between from parent to child, at that time we are using that at the rate input decorator, and when we are passing the data between child to parent, at that time we are using at the rate output, and
Okay.
we are emitting that value, whatever value we have, that one. Then
Okay. So I have created a mini project for you. Just let it open. There is a component called test, which is inside the app component. You need to pass your name in the object format from test to app component.
okay, so which
The
from
app component is below that.
yes, app component.
Yeah,
So from test component, I have to pass in app component, right?
right. So test component is a child component. Okay.
Okay.
And app component is the parent component. Currently, in which company you are working,
In
Madhav?
emphasis, and
And overall experience you have
knowledge 5.5.
5.5. Okay. So I believe you are passed out of your college in
16.
2016, 17.
Yeah, that input is not taken.
So first tell me the input you will use or the output you will use here.
Because this is my child component. So
Hmm.
from child to parent. Okay, so in child to parent, I have to use that output. But when we are passing from parent to child, no, so at that time we have to
No, I'm not asking the other way. The problem I told you from test, which is child, to app component, which is parent. I think my question is clear to you, right?
yes, so
Okay.
child to parent.
So what you should use?
So at the rate output, child to parent.
Okay. So go ahead and implement it. Okay, I think it's already 11:35. Are you able to figure out what's the problem?
Yes, yes. So here maybe some syntax issue, some syntax I missed because output is a small gap only here, but when we declare.
Okay, let's suppose you have done that here. In the app component, what you will write?
Yes, so in app component we have to in HTML we have to give in HTML whatever is there. No, we have to give, and then in the TS file here I will data.
It will be with square brackets.
This is for this. Then here suppose this one I have to call, this one I have to call in here in that uh, means TS file.
Okay, all right. Let's suppose there is one app which you have. You need to pass some token to every API call whenever you make request from your application. So how would you do that?
So we have to pass token.
Yeah, in every API call, like whenever you're trying to load any page that needs some data from the backend, backend need to verify that authenticated user is calling this API. A token should be there. So how you can do that?
Is so for token no whatever in my project I did, so I set in
Mhm.
that interface. So and that there also means in local storage. So local storage we set whatever that token is coming from that backend,
Mhm.
and we are setting from that interface. So when it will call that interface, no, at that time it will check that token only.
So that you are doing manually, like
No,
whenever
no,
you are.
no, no. Actually, we are calling that services, so they providing that token.
Okay.
So refresh token we use.
So is
That
there
is
any other mechanism in Angular which we have, or the service you use from there you can pass the token only?
there from 19
Okay. Do you know Angular zones?
Angular
Okay, no problem. Uh,
because this Angular zone, this thing is coming means above 7. Yeah.
okay. Okay. Have you worked with observable or promises?
Yes.
Okay. Can you go
So,
back to the can you go back to the JavaScript compiler?
so
Yeah. Remove everything what you have there.
one.
The the second tab. Second tab. Yeah, this one. Remove everything here. Can you write down a promise which return a value after 5 seconds? Which returns a random number after 5 seconds? Have you done like
From me.
have you written promise anywhere in your project before?
No, in my project I didn't use. So most
Have you used
of the
arrow functions?
is error function I use. That is that short
So
term
what you have
function.
written here after promise, there is what you have written here. Are you looking somewhere to get this?
No,
Okay, no worries. It will not work. Uh, uh, can you tell me, is there any you might be using APIs in your application, in your Angular application? So, what are the ways you can get the data and render that in the HTML file? Like you need to call HTTP services.
Yes.
So, how you like get the data and render that in the page?
Ye- So first in service file I have to write that means in that app module no I have to import that HTTP client module. Then in services I have to import that HTTP client, and
Mhm.
in that services only I have to, in constructor I have to give that constructor private HTTP equal to HTTP
Mhm.
client. Then inside that I have to create one method. Suppose a get user is there, then after that then I have to return if it's a get method is there. So get return http dot get method, then bracket, then whatever my API is there. So I have to pass that API I have to pass. Then that API I have to that services I have to call in component, and in component constructor also I have to import that whatever service name is there. So private services equal to that means column that services name. After that suppose in ng on init I have to call. So or we can do in other method also in component. So I'm telling in the ng on init. So this dot then services dot whatever my get user I defined in service file. So that get user then dot subscribe, then that arrow method can I write here?
No, no, I'm getting a point. In the
Yes,
subscribe,
yes,
what in the subscribe, what
yes.
are the things you need to give?
Yes, so I have to give that response. Then that response I have to console. If
Can
I
you
have
write
to
down the
store,
subscribe part here?
yes, yes. So suppose uh, services dot get get here, and if I have to store,
And let's suppose if my API is not able to respond, it's giving error. In that case, what will happen?
yes, so in that case error block I have to give the error. Then that. So that case it will handle here. If I
So,
will
do you
get that.
think this approach? Do you think this approach is good?
Actually, I want this approach only. So apart from that other,
Any other way there we can use a good
so
approach?
still I didn't use other way. So if I will get that one, no, then that means
The
behavior
problem with
subject.
this, the problem with this, let me tell you what the problem with this. You are subscribing this, so it will be subscribe until you unsubscribe it. You need to manually do it. So that is the problem. If you have multiple components, multiple services, multiple APIs call going on, the subscribe overhead will slow up your application.
Yes, so
If you
for
do not unsubscribe it.
yes, so we have to unsubscribe in ng on destroy. So we have to unsubscribe in ng on destroy. So apart from
So
that,
that you have to do again. That you have to do again. So there is
yes,
any
so
other way we can do it.
fork join is there. So we have to call, but I didn't use
Okay, you
inside.
mentioned fork join. Fork join is from Angular.
No, this is from that RxJS.
What stand for RHS?
So reactive extension, means reactive extension JavaScript.
Okay, okay, all right. Uh, Let me ask you a few. Have you used SQL also in your?
No, SQL I didn't.
So
I
what
don't
database
use.
you have used?
So for database MongoDB they used, but in what if means I only used to that search whatever that value is there, not like that only.
So MongoDB, which version you have used?
Which one? MongoDB.
Hmm?
I
MongoDB, which
don't
versions you have used?
person I don't.
Okay. So what is the advantage of using MongoDB over SQL databases?
Yes, so in MongoDB they use with that Java means backend they are using that Java, so MongoDB they are using. So in it will be that collection, whatever collection they give, no, one by one collection is there. But in SQL, maybe that table form details item.
Okay, let's suppose in HTML you want to uh, what to say in HTML that it will get from the
Then we will click that
like
upload.
you can pick a file from your desktop, for example in the Dropbox. What you do, you select a file, like uh, move it in the browser and then leave your mouse, it catches that file.
It's a drag and drop, right?
Yeah, so what HTML like you need to use for that? Okay, no problem. What is the difference between position relative and position absolute?
Position relative is that when we are using that position relative, so it will that normal flow only, but in that position absolute it
With
will move.
normal flow, what do you understand?
Yes, it will not move. Suppose if I will do anything with that div or any spam, so it will be in same position only.
So it will not going to move if you
No,
scroll down.
yes,
If you have a very big page which has around 500 pixel height, in that case also, if you scroll up, that file, that particular div will not change. Like it will be there only, that you are
yes,
saying.
will be in normal position. So this will be scroll. If we are using, so it will be scroll.
Okay.
Yes, but in absolute will whatever space
Okay.
is
You
there. Also,
mentioned you have used SCS extensively, right?
yes, is CSS.
So our browser can understand SCSS.
Yes, so in Angular, no, we have to define that whatever selector and template URL is there, no. So in template URL, we have to give that
No, my question
SC.
is, our browser understand SCSS or not?
No, no, that only CSS our browser will understand. Right? So for extension we keep. So when we are creating any new project, so at that time they will ask we have to create that CSS or SCSS.
So what is the advantage of using SCSS then? If the browser
So
only understands CSS, then why we are writing it?
so for that means SCSS we are writing whatever our that means design is there. No, we have to give like
Anything,
child pen component.
anything
Sorry,
which
child.
is, let me ask you another way. Anything which we can do with SCSS only that cannot be done with CSS?
It can be done with CSS
Is there anything which we can do only with SCSS and not with CSS?
and do only with CSS, but in not in CSS, right? So so in SCSS, suppose my one div is there. So inside that class, then inside again that class we can define, but in CSS we can't define like that.
Have you used mixin in CSS, SCSS? Mixin? No? Okay. Have you declared any variables in SCSS?
It, yes, so variable. Yes, so in common file we declared a variable. So then means for constantly whatever import we have to do. No, so that import then that
Hmm.
very and inside that file whatever suppose color is fixed, so color is not defined.
So
So
how
we
you
have
define the variable name? Can you write it down?
to give that path here from where we are exporting. Syntax I'm not sure about that syntax.
Okay, no worries. So you have not used SQL, right?
This
Okay.
is good.
Okay. And You are in which place?
I'm in Bangalore currently.